Okay, Deniz Gamze Erguven, huge congratulations on your Oscar nomination for directing the film Mustang. And before we talk about the film, I'd love just to know, where were you when you found out about the nomination? What was going through
Uh,
your mind when all of that craziness was happening?
the nomination, I was in Paris with the French PR that I adore. And the thing is, the foreign film Oscar is goes to a country, and we've been chosen by France, and it's a very modern and radical choice. And for me, I'm born Turkish, and so it's like a huge, emotionally, it means a lot. So it's after, yeah, it feels like a responsibility. So at every Cape we had to go through, like the short list and the nomination, I really felt the pressure because
Right.
we just, yeah, we feel like being, yeah, just worthy of the trust we've been.
And the foreign language category, that's one of our favorites because it really is the whole country that's represented by the nomination. What was the reaction from the people of France when Mustang got nominated?
Well, it was what came all the way to me was extremely positive. Like probably in cinema and in France and in Europe, you have like the highest values and the best. Like in Europe, you have European co-production. You have all the ideals of Europe, which exist. Like people are extremely eager to know each other, to help each other, to collaborate, and Europe doesn't function as well on other matters. So in terms of cinema, we made the ideal work, and in France also, it's like a way of embracing the French identity with all its possible diversity. So yeah, people are really behind it. Plus, it's they're rooting very, very strongly now.
Nice. And you're a first-time director, right? This was your first big feature?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So you hit the gold mine, I guess, they say. And you're also the only female director nominated at the Oscars for a narrative film. What does all of this mean to you as kind of a newcomer to the business?
Well, the diversity in terms of gender, it's been like an issue ever since ever since the world exists. I guess like
Yeah.
in our history and cinema history, like we've used to see the world through the eyes of men. And in terms of cinema, like everywhere I've been, I was like either the only girl or the one of the two only. Like in film school, it was like that in every possible program where I met Alice Fruneco, my co-writer. Uh, we were the two girls out of 15 directors, so it's like nothing new. Like when I was the only one at the Golden Globes or one of the two only ones at the Oscar, it's like, okay, that's like so familiar to me. But the fact that we're talking about it so much, like it's been a huge discussion in Cannes also this year and the previous one. I think it's
Mm,
important because the questions of diversity, it's even more than a question of just like having equality. It's something like cinema has such an impact on the way we shape our societies, on the way we think. It's extremely constitutive. So the fact that we're missing on the point of view of half of humanity by not having films made by women just makes us more stupid. Like we would be so much more articulate and have broader perspective, and it would generate understanding, compassion, empathy. Like it would make our points of view much more complex. So I guess it's just, yeah, in terms of we are the audience is missing on all those things.
right.
So it's good that it's central in the discussion, and eventually I hope it will change because to this point it's like,
Right. I think they're making steps to change it. I think by 2020 they want to, double the number of female members and diverse members. So hopefully, things will change for the better. And speaking of the Golden Globes, what was that experience like going there to represent Mustang and seeing all the celebrities in the red carpet? Was that fun or was that just a lot of pressure?
the Golden Globes. It was great. Plus, it's a very wide. It's you have people from television as well, so it's like a very very wild spectrum of people, and exciting. It's so great too. Plus, the good thing about all the award season is, or even the fact that the film is here and shortlisted and then nominated. It starts off with people seeing the film and in the beginning it's agents, managers, producers, and then actors and potential collaborators. So I'm meeting actors I've loved, and I love actors more than anything in the world. So it's just like, it feels great.
Yeah.
Just like you, to discuss possible projects with actors you just adore. Yeah.
And you're a writer on the film in addition to being the director. Can you talk a little about the origin of Mustang? How did the story come about? I heard a rumor that you wrote the script in like 20 hours or something like that.
No, I had 20 hours a day, but
A
not.
day, okay.
No, but in one summer, I had written I had a first feature film project that I started off after film school about the LA riots, and it took me like 3 years to write. It was like a film which was probably so difficult to produce that I just like couldn't lift the sail, and it felt crazy difficult. And I had met with that project, with that script, at the Atelier of the Ciné Fondation, Alice Winocourt, the co-writer of the film, and she also had a first feature film project, which was like very hard to produce. But eventually, just after the Atelier, she made her film. I didn't, and I was just about to give up everything. And I had written the treatment of Mustang, and I told Alice about the scenes and the story, and she was the one who, when Kings was completely stalling, to tell me, you should, do something else. You should, maybe that film you told me about, you should dig into that and things like that. And in the beginning, I was like, no way, I'm not writing another script to live this thing again. And then she's like, oh, come on, let's do it together. And she put me in a situation where she would say stuff like, if you don't have a script by the end of the summer, you're gonna die. And so I believed in her, and like hitting my keyboard so madly that she was a bit like the boxing coach saying, okay, hit. And so it worked out like that. And the story is like, I'm the youngest in the family with a lot of girls and women on 2 generations. So there's a lot of true scenes. The situations are true, but then the way the characters react is like science fiction. Like when Noel starts breaking the chairs, we triggered the same scandal by sitting on the shoulders of the boys, and we were told quite exactly the same thing, but we were so mortified, we just didn't say anything. And the girls, they say all those things you dreamt you would have said.
And the young actress. Oh, go ahead.
By breaking the chairs in the kitchen and saying, these chairs touch our assholes. And isn't that amazing?
The young actresses that lead the film are so fantastic and very believable. There was times I thought I was watching a documentary. That's how believable all of this was. They seemed just perfect, perfectly in tune with their characters. So how difficult, or I guess how easy was it to find, to do the casting process?
Well, the key point is probably casting and seeing thousands of girls and doing all that process of seeing who has the ability of great listening, of great imagination, of diving into the scenes and all those things. And once you have your combination and it clicked, that was like the hard part. Then it was extremely playful, and it felt, the preparation is the big work. I worked the scenes with professional actors before, so I would be ready for anything when I would work with the girls. And then the process of the collaboration with them was really about building a safe haven, a very playful atmosphere of engaging them as much as we could, and so it felt more like fun, like that part of the work. Yeah.
Was there any scene in particular that, when you were writing it, you're like, oh, this will be easy to film, and then when you actually start to filming it, the spectacle of the scene just got overwhelming, and you're like, I'm not gonna write a scene like that anymore? Was there any like really difficult scenes to transcribe like that?
The difficult, the moments which were really hard that I remember were like at a very few points of the shooting, we had like we were really under the pressure of time. It didn't happen every day all the time, but sometimes we had a very strong pressure of time. And at those moments, like I was very, very obsessed with not having a hole in the film, like, because the film is really articulated like a little clock. So if you have like a piece missing, it's problematic. And so I remember like really fighting until the last second, like you have, as if you had a sand clock, what do you call it? You know, and
Like the
until the
timer.
last, yeah, like, I would just like be fighting to get whatever I needed for the for the film to work. And sometimes while watching the film after the editing, I was thinking, oh my God, like that specific night, it was really a battle. Like, but it was more like the conditions of the shooting more than, because uh, when you're actually uh, shooting, you dig into things, you try things, so you don't have the impression you're failing. It's when you have the impression you won't have the time to, you know, to do whatever you need to do, because
Mhm.
yeah, if it doesn't work, you will try something else. It's not like it's just a one take. You can like try and search and dig, but yeah, it's more the time constraint that's frightening sometimes.
Hmm. And my favorite scene was when the girls were at the game and they were shown on TV, and so the ants quickly cut the electricity before the men, you would see that they snuck out of the house. Were they really at a stadium, or was that kind of like the magic of the movies?
No, there was two shootings of that football scene. In the beginning, I wanted to shoot in a real stadium, but we were lucky enough. One of those games was announced just a few weeks before um, the shooting started, and we just had completed the casting. We just said, okay, these will be the 5 girls, and a game like that was announced. So we went, but one day before the shooting, they told us you can't have any camera whatsoever.
Mm.
It was like such an absurd shooting. Like imagine going to shoot a scene without a camera. And they even told me like you can't even have a phone. I took my phone and I filmed the girls, but that was like not anything I could use. But we had one thing, which was they allowed us to film through the cameras of the stadium. So we had
Nice.
literal TV images. So I just got 2 shots from there that we put in the TV, like when the ants see.
Hmm.
And then the budget of the film was really little, and we had to redo it, obviously. So I was thinking, okay, we need the emotion. Like we can't do 45,000 people again in a stadium, so we just need the emotion. So that scene was obviously the climax in terms of fun and sense of freedom of the film. So it's just like filmed like that in terms of like a dream. And so we were in a very, very little stadium with like one dodgy tribune with 25 girls, and we put them in a trance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about you? Do you have a favorite scene or a favorite moment from Mustang, or is that kind of like asking, pick a favorite child? Is it really hard to pick a favorite moment?
No, you're really asking pick your favorite child. The season. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't.
All of it.
Well, I guess, yeah, no, I do have a scene that I adore, like the scene when they're like the monster with 5 heads, like when they play around.
Mm.
That when they, yeah, that one. They're completely as a knot. They're all intertwined. That's my
And
favorite scene.
what do you hope people take away from this film? Do you hope it opens up a conversation about the way some countries treat their daughters?
Well, there's something about, I think the film is as exotic for the male counterparts of these girls as for people at the other side of the world. So I think it's very important for people to see the world through the eyes of these girls and see how an existence can be shaped by the values of patriarchy. And I guess for a lot of people, it's something they would not never try to project themselves into. And so generating compassion, empathy, understanding of what it feels like for anyone outside that experience is probably the most important thing. And then it's also a film that says that courage pays and freedom is incompressible. So it questions things which are fundamental to me, like
Mm.
the sexualization of women, all like continual sexualization of women.
Right.
It's something we really, discuss. So all those things are central.
And what's next for you? Do you have another project down the horizon once all of the Oscar madness kind of
No, no, no.
dissipates?
No, there's one project we're in discussion, and with an actress that I adore, and so we're gonna see what happens.
Nice.
We're
And the Oscars are just 2 weeks away. Do you have your tickets yet? Do you know what you're going to wear? The craziness is beginning now.
Yeah. And do I have my tickets? Where are we? Yeah, we RSVP. And then, and what else? I know what I'm going to wear, kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well,
so all the most important things are settled.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was so great talking to you. Best of luck at the Oscars. We can't wait to see what comes next from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.